Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's professional time. Let's suit up, grab our scripts, and let's get on our way. Welcome to my Rise of Mordor faction overview for the Kingdom of Dale. If you haven't already, which shame on you, go watch my Ladris overview. Yay! Now I'll be going over all the campaign and multiplayer as well as battle statistics and previews given to us by the Rise of Mordor forums. A detailed and easy timeline is in the description below. Note, this mod is still a work in progress. Without further ado, let's get started. Campaign information about the Kingdom of Dale, plots, quests, and features. Northmen culture traits. Hardy folk. Northmen are hard but good people. They work the earth and guard their homes. But with a heart for home comes a power in battle, and the Northmen are natural warriors. Increased income from agriculture, small morale bonus when fighting in home territory. Middlemen. Although most would see the absence of nobility with the Northmen as something bad, it would seem in fact that this has ever helped them to survive and to endure hardships with smaller means, like loyalty, devotion and friendship rather than pride and dignity. Less smithing potential than other races, reduced income from industry, increased income from trade and diplomatic bonuses with all non-evil factions. Faction traits. Keen marksman, led by Bard the Dragonslayer and having a long heritage with the bow. The Dalians are among the finest marksmen to be found among men. Minus 10% upkeep for missile armed units. Minus 10% recruitment cost for missile units. Plus 10% accuracy. The higher aim. It will prove vital for the Dalians to unite themselves under one banner and to create a strong bulwark against the many foes from the south and the east. The higher aim for the Dalians will to be this: to rebuild the great realm of their forefathers, to revive their prosperous days of old, and to take up the arms of yore, reclaiming the kingdom of ancient Rhovanion. The Easterlings shall quiver and shake at the future might of marksmen of Dale. Rhovanion shall prosper once more. Got that? Awesome. Now we're heading over to the quests. Quest 1. From the Ashes. All seemed over. Our city was laid waste too many years ago. Twice has the fire of the dragon struck us, slaying many. Corrupted rulers, your very predecessors, my lord, have long oppressed us, and many dared to have us fallen by orc blades. It was only for some days ago that a great storm would ridden the earth with orcs and other fellow creatures. Evil has returned. Maybe one day, such a storm will come again, but we will make sure that we will stand our ground against any ill-turned tide. We, my lord, stand ready at your command, to take every step your wise and honourable words and insights demand us to take. For we acknowledge you as our king, our sovereign protector, that will lead us to whatever end. Please, my lord, heed our pledge, and tell us what needs to be done, and we will see it done for the honour of those who died in the grim days of late. Objective: rebuild the ruins of Dale and Esgaroth, both tier 1. No reward yet. Minors: research the great building, research Dalian monarchy, reward. Influence of the ruling party increased by X%. Hold your homeland regions and your latest conquests. No reward yet. Secure the position of King Bard by holding 75% of all political influence. No reward yet. Recruit 5 units of fishermen. Have trade relations with Erebor. Again, no reward yet. Quest 2. Armies of Yore. Your rule is now secure, my lord. The people of ancient Dale now follow you, and you gave us a new, safe home. Hope is rekindling, and now warm hearth and good food can expel the cold and suffering. However, this is but the beginning of what is yet to come. Should we continue to prosper, soon the great bells of Dale shall ring in the gladness again. But be warned, our borders are still completely open, and we must ensure that our military structure outruns that of all enemies surrounds us. We are determined to take up arms for you, my king, and we will levy all those that are still left, able to fight. We are eager for your continued orders, my lord. Objectives: maintain 15 land units. Research organized militias and construct barracks for tier 1 in Dale. Research blacksmiths of the north. Hold your homeland regions and your latest conquest. No rewards yet. Recruit 4 units of spear militia and arm them with tier 1 weapons. No reward yet. Quest 3. The Eastern Tide. Hold the entirety of the following province, Dale. Rewards. No reward yet. Miners. Research frontier guards. Construct barracks tier 2. Hold your homeland regions and your latest conquests. Maintain 20 land units including at least 3 rangers of Rhovanion, 3 Northern scouts, and 4 watchpost sentries. capture the northern region of Rhovanion, rebuild the wasteland south and east of Dale. No rewards yet. Heading over to multiplayer, let's muster the units of Dale. This time Arachir won't be co-narrating, but he will be for Isengard, Mordor and Gondor. Rivermen. With the arrival of Smaug, who drove the dwarves out of Erebor and laid waste to the city of Dale, the survivors of the desolation of Smaug ventured south to find shelter in the lands near the many rivers and small streams, or to labour in the city of Esgaroth. This made for a major shift in society of the Northmen. The income of trade caravans coming from far and wide, and of large cargo fleets carrying silks, gems, and other precious resources, was no longer. Now, the Dalians and the men of the lake rely on farming and fishing for their everyday survival. There is little more trade in the lands to the northeast due to the oncoming darkness, but now that Drogon is gone, and the great battle won, the men who dwell on the marshes are scrambling for what food and shelter they can, hoping to find opportunity and strength to rebuild the lives of their forefathers. They will not hesitate to use their hunting tools, javelin, dagger, and shield, to defend their land from anyone who would seek to hinder them in their rebuilding. They will not let anyone take the last belongings they possess, not even the most terrible of foes, for most have seen dragon fire in the sky and a city turn to ash. Ever since the fall of Rhovanion, Easterlings have been pouring into the plains of East Mirkwood. There is no longer a safe place to dwell in peace, for the land is subject to plunder and bloodshed. No longer are these lands controlled by any free people. Their influence holds where the watchposts, of which there are many, have no more sight beyond the horizon. Such a watchpost is often situated quite far away from any settlement, but is no less important for that. Between the many small villages and the sentries, there ride the scouts, often descendants from the ancient horse people of Rhovanion, or even from the people that now dwell in Rohan. They are the swiftest of all, and thus the most suited to carry messages concerning important findings and events from the ever-threatening and uncertain frontier to the garrison towns. They are a vital part of the protection of Dale and the other lands to the north. Without them, an army of Eastlings might already be far up the Celduin, while the Dalians were yet unprepared for any assault. This must never happen. Do not abandon the scouts of the north. When the dwarves attempted to retake the Lonely Mountain and to kill the dragon Smaug, after they had awakened it, Smaug came to Esgaroth to destroy the allies of Thorin's company in vengeance. In this, he almost succeeded, if it had not been for Bard, who slayed him with one of the few black arrows still remaining. Immediately after the great firestorm that once burned the homes of the Northmen, Bard led the survivors to the ancient ruins of Dale, in order to seek refuge there and negotiate with Thorin, demanding that he keep his word to provide shelter and the promised share of the treasure for the rebuilding of the lake's home. Thorin, however, did not heed the call of Bard to fulfill his promise. If it had not been for an army of evil, also pushed by the presence of an army from the woodland realm, commanded by the elven king Thranduil himself, they would have fought each other to their death. But such was not their fate. Together, they defeated the enemy, and at last the hopes of the Northmen for a new and better future, a future where they no longer had to live in the shadow of a darkened mountain that is home to a terrible malice, and where they do not have to endure rotten timber underfoot, dreadful smells of fish oil and tar in their noses, and corrupt mayors that hold them in thraldom, all thanks to the valor of the devastated, yet resilient and brave men of the lake. They have proven that no matter what shadow afflicts their lands, they will either fight against it in unity or die trying to save the women and children. And should the hour grow late, and should all hope be abandoned, the fisherman, the guardsman of the royal hall, the merchant and the soldier will remember the great deeds of their ancestral kin, and they will stand firm and equal the great deeds of yore. Ever have the Dalians been familiar with the use of the bow? Indeed, ever has the improved version of an ordinary bow, the longbow, been of great use to all men of the north. Their lives depend on this weapon, for they use it for the hunt and for driving back unpleasant visitors. The tradition of the longbow in the heritage of the Northmen goes back to years beyond memory. From generation to generation, a bow was passed over from the grandfather to the father, and from father to son. The bow is a family heirloom to man of the lands of Dale. They wield it in honor of their ancestors and family, no matter how miserable their lives may seem. Now that the dragon is dead, and the enemy, for the time being, has been driven back, many who used to live in fear and under unpleasant circumstances now seek to better their lives, often by moving to the city. The road of their new lives lies ahead, open, and they will take it. On their way they will carry their beloved bows that aided them in their struggle for survival. Although life in the city will change, they will forever carry it with them and use it in defense of their lives in the new city of Dale, newly built. Despite a terrifying dragon, fierce battle, poverty, corrupt overlords, and a sea storm of fire, the Dalians endured. Slowly, their territory begins to revive. It can only be seen throughout the lands. The city of Dale has grown. From the lonely mountain, once again streams of gold slowly start to flow. Trade ships set sail from Esgroth to Dorwinion. To and from roads are built. Traversing marshland and across rivers, more folk on the move can be seen. And more is yet to come with the opportunities in the cities, drawing folks from far and wide back to the home of their ancestors. The watchpost sentries are the key guards of the edges of the city and the first line of defense. As the wealth of the Dalians grows slowly but steadily, so does the unwanted attention it draws. Many do not have the benefit from trade with the Dalians, are now looking to steal that which they desire. Easterlings have been spotted on the wastelands of Rhovanion to the south and the barren plains of Rhun in the east. From Dul Guldur now spawn great beasts and large hosts of orc that plunder the lands of the Dalians. Of course, there are the watchposts and messengers, but lately, the King of Dale has decided to recruit some of his fine bowmen into stealth units to patrol beyond the frontier and perform skirmishes and ambushes on packs of Eastlings and Orcs that would possibly threaten Dale's borders. This adds another line of defense to the still young and upstarting nation that is reviving from the shadows and disasters of old. As such, these bands of rangers are already an unmissable group of survivors. They are among the bravest, most keen and agile men of Dale. They will make sure as little foes and servants of an evil will trasp into the lands of Dale as possible. May they cross the river into the realm, they shall die. The men are hooded and masked, padded in leather armor and armed with a longbow, and with high skills, providing excellent shot and aim, protecting life for the innocent and ensuring death for those guilty of evil ways. Ever have the men of the lake had a heritage of trade, maritime commerce and shipping. Large fleets filled with fine gems and silks used to sail up to the river running, but those days have been ended. For when the dragon came, the Marquess of Dale was set ablaze, and the dwarves were driven out of their mountain, and no more riches flowed out of the mountain's gate. Trade came to a halt, many died in the firestorm, and survivors sought refuge in the woods and fields, living from hunting and farming. The ships were forced to survive with fishing, yielding far less than in the past, but such was the way of the world. Times have changed now though, and anew there is hope for trade flourishing again in the northern lands. It lies in the hands of those who still remember the ancient profession of shipping. They will arm themselves and take risks for a chance to let trade revive. With fine wine from Dorwinion coming from the south up the river, grain and food coming from the new farms of the lands from the Woodland Realm, many new luxuries are flowing from the mountain of Erebor once more. There is hope for the ancient trade fleets to be rebuilt, double the size. Development of the lands to the northeast means the agrarian and fishing society is slowly replaced by an urban society based on trade, replacing agriculture in its turn. However, the lands are still dangerous and not fully protected, and trade over long distances to the Woodland Realm, Dorwinion, and the Iron Hills is still not without high risks. Protection for this could only be provided by fine soldiers, of which there are still many left in Dale, but they are expensive to hire. Not even the most wealthy of merchants and caravan owners. The state has noticed this unwanted blockade, as it deprives men for opportunity to earn money as a soldier, and withholds traders to trade against profitable yields. To boost the economy and the common welfare, the King of Dale now subsidies these troops to train them for combat, give them proper armor and a horse to respond quickly to enemy raids for airfield. As such, they are trained to group themselves efficiently, so that even when some men are off driving back raiders, the trade caravans are still protected. Such ways the guard of the wealth of Dale. Esgroth, built upon the long lake, is situated south of Dale and the Lonely Mountain, with the river running flowing down from the north into the lake and southeast of Dorwinion and the island sea of Rhun. Many trading ships would come from downstream up to Esgroth, and they would be filled with large quantities of fine silks, precious wine, and other valuable goods. The Lakemen would sell these goods to the men of Dale, to the Dwarves of the Lonely Mountain, or the woodler Elves of Mirkwood, generating huge amounts of wealth that would flow through the channels and streets of Esgaroth like blood running through the veins. However, these golden days have been ended with the desolation of Smaug and the stirring of the Easterlings. Many trade routes ceased to exist, or simply could not afford adequate protection of their cargo. As such, people of Esgaroth slowly turned from wealthy traders into poor fishermen. But this did not move to the aristocrats. They lived on in the old fashion, and would raise the same high taxes only for their own good and luxury. Especially during the reign of the last mayor of Esgaroth, many commoners rose up against the discontent higher in class. In response to this, the aristocrats would pay these Lake Town guards more than any other person of a different profession. In order to prevent the rebel arousers to gain a significant voice, their new duty is an honourable one, a new duty that will carry with pride and dignity towards the very end. The city of Dale is situated to the banks of the river running between the Lonely Mountain to the north and Esgaroth to the south. West of it lies the realm of Thranduil the Great Wood, and to the east the road leads to the dwarven colonies of the Iron Hills. Such central positioning makes this location crucial to trade and control of a strategically important position. Although its proximity to the dwarven realm of Erebor has mostly been a blessing, it has also proven to be a curse. The fact that it was the dwarves and their wealth that drew the attention of Smaug, the Fire Drake, meant the utter destruction of the wealthy city of the Dalians. Such ill fate could have been prevented if Girion, Lord of Dale, ancestor of Bard the Dragon Slayer, could slay the beast with a black arrow shot from the dwarven wind lance that was mounted upon a high tower. His attempts, however, were in vain, for none of the 3 black arrows he shot found a mark. Why he had to turn to this last measure is simple. The tough and thick hide of a dragon is harder than any steel and more resilient than any shield. And thus, the fate of Dale was sealed. None that seek to reduce Dale to its old desolation will escape the feel of an arrow, sharp and keen, shot in the shoulder. The Swordsman's Regiment is among the core of this new army. It provides many close ranks of professional troops to outflank enemy formations and to strike heavy blows upon the ill-equipped ranks of Orcs and Easterlings. These men are recruited from amongst Dale's finest warriors and its most able men. They are disciplined, well-equipped and well-armed, providing a decent threat to any that would seek to once again lay waste to Dale. The Spear Guards are a new unit, hailing from many fanatic warriors among the Dalians. These men are properly trained and well-disciplined. Their armor and weapons are provided by the State and are of great quality, far superior to that which a common man could purchase himself. Carrying a shield and a spear in battle, these men can withstand harsh punishment by missiles, cavalry, and infantry. They are well equipped, but more importantly, they cherish in their minds the memory of their beloved city, with its towers and its markets that now flourish once more, having resurrected from the ashes of old, now shall once more question the might of Dale, nor tempt it, none shall ever. Now that evil has resurged from the deep, and many orcs and goblins creep under the night sky near the banks of the Anduin and the plains of ancient Rhovanion, many now seek to organize themselves. At that very moment, it was King Bard of Dale that sought to recruit a cavalry regiment into his army. For that, he sought after these ancient peoples, and they pledged themselves in service of the King of Dale. They now fight alongside the Dalians in defense in these evil times, for as long as the free people can stand firm against the dark tide, armed with a lance and a shield and a very decent armor, the skill and tradition of the ancient Ithriad has been rekindled, and now serves well against the evil of Sauron. Of all of the men, the Dalians are arguably the best and most renowned marksmen of all of Middle-earth. Indeed, their tradition in the use of the longbow has ever been intertwined with the Dalesmen, but even among the best, there are the best of the best, and these are represented by the Bardings. Only the elves can outshoot these keen marksmen. They form the elites of Dale, and are the bodyguard of the King of Dale himself. Mostly being among the best marksmen himself, for sure, King Bard the Dragon Slayer, who killed the dragon, rebuilt Dale and Esgaroth and revived the kingdom of old, is the best. But he is followed directly by these. No finer shot is to be found in the east of Mirkwood than that of the Bardings of Dale, the Marshals of the North. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my Elves of Mirkwood preview and overview of the faction in the Rise of Mordor mod. I hope you enjoyed this one, and next faction will be Isengard and then Mordor. Enjoy.